Hey, g'day viewers. Right, we're back on the Huon sailboat, up to the next stage. This was supposed to happen earlier in the week, but had other things to attend to, and because it's also firewood week, so that's what. Wednesday I out cutting firewood, and yesterday is unloading the trailer and chopping and stacking and all the rest of it. There's a little bit left out there that I haven't cut yet, and anyway, it's another subject. As you can see, we've sanded all this side. I still can't get all the weathering stain out of it. It's too deep, and it's right on the rivet line as well, so that's as much as we can sand that. With the rivets themselves, what I will be doing, because see, it's dark where the other rivets are. A lot of them will need puttying, re-puttying, but it's all stained around it. So rather than trying to match the timber, I'm just going to I'll mix a little bit of stain, dark stain, walnut stain with a tiny bit of lacquer, and I'll just dab over those rivets just with a little artist brush. But I'll do that after the first coat of lacquer, between first and second. Because I want lacquer in the holes anyway. Like some of these, like ones like this, it'll got to be puttied. Actually, I will get a screwdriver and probably a brush with acetone. I'll see if I can get some of that green corrosion off before I get to that, before I put the first coat of lacquer on. But in the meantime, I've got some epoxy filling to do. I've already mixed the epoxy. Fortunately, it's winter in Tasmania, so you get quite a lot of time. I've gone along, put pencil marks, checked it over first, put pencil marks, where I need to. Actually, I missed that bit. I still missed a bit. I've gone along with and still managed to miss bits, but anyway, I'll keep a mental note of that now. And so this, taking a video, man. Wait a minute. This here, so this is epoxy. It's been here probably from original. So and like this has had an impact here, enough of an impact to crack the bow. It hasn't affected the epoxy whatsoever, so it's permanent. There was silicone all the way in here. I gouged it out. I end up getting them. I got a wood bait of small circular saw. Then I hadn't had the hole machined out a tiny bit so that it fits the angle grinder. Bit of a dangerous thing, but anyway, so I got in there and gouged that out properly just to make sure it's all going to stick to the timber. But the good thing about epoxy, and this is why you don't use polyester resin on boats either, is it goes off too quick. See, epoxy soaks right into the timber and it bonds really, really well. If you get a good adhesion, or if you do the job properly, you'll never break it. You won't break the epoxy. You break the timber around it first. You won't separate it from the timber either. This down here is where I had, because I've got to sand that a little bit more, but this is where I had that screw in, where I had it mounted to the rotisserie. So I've actually caused that myself. It's probably because I didn't pre-drill the hole. I just screwed the wood screw into it, and I think it's expanded it a bit. But I have to think about that next time. Put a boat on the rotisserie. Just probably would have done better to just put a bolt all the way through, maybe, or something. Well, if I just pre-drilled the hole, it probably mightn't have happened. But anyway, down there I tested a little bit. Just put a little bit of lacquer over it to see how it was going to go. And yeah, it's going to turn out quite motley. And anyway, not really much I can do about that. And of course, you can see like this dark stain, that'll get even darker. You can see it down here. See, it's almost black. So yeah, but yeah, that's as good as we're going to get it. Yeah. So, of course, I had to hand sand it on here. I did, all the planks with the orbital. Done that by hand. When you're doing things like that too, you've got to be conscious of where you're rubbing. Like, so if I'd have gone along, so you can see it. If I'd have gone along and rubbed all this all the way along like that, what I would have created is a hollow in here. So the way I've done it is to put it flat on there and just push it down onto this edge. And like when you get down to, and then you go across, just a couple of times, just across that edge to make sure it's not sharp. Because when you get down to here, it's a bit wider, but you can still do it in the same fashion. You just pull out, the back or the front of your thing, so you're covering the whole area. So, yeah. You'll notice too, I've used pencil. You don't want to use a marker of any kind because it'll soak into it. So the pencil will just rub off real quick and easy. And, yeah. Anyway, we've mixed up some epoxy here. This is a 5-to-1 mix. And the other thing I've done is collected some sawdust, and I'm not actually prepared for that. I need to get a bit of mesh, so I need to sift that through some mesh. We've got a bit here somewhere. Sift it through something. Damn. Sorry about not being organised. Right. A bit of fly screen. This is what I've sanded off the bait. Hopefully it's going to go through that. I've already mixed the epoxy too, so it's just as well it doesn't go off a whole lot quicker. That would be a problem. So if this was a hot day, I'll be having issues about now. This should be already starting to go off. Because it was polyester, and it would have gone off anyway. By now. So that's been mixed for a good 10 minutes now. Yeah. I didn't scrape this off the floor. This is what I swept off the hull of the boat. And because there's still there's dirt in it. There's bits of lacquer. It's not pure timber. So if you were trying to match exactly your timber, well then you would get a piece of timber that doesn't have any dirt, weathering, lacquer paint or anything else, so that you've just got the pure timber. And there's various ways of doing it. You mix it with wood glue, mix it with lacquer. So I'm mixing this with epoxy because I'm going for strength. So anyway, I'll just start pouring a bit in there. And epoxy is 5-to-1 mix. It's up to about there somewhere. So you can see what I'm, yeah. Just checking that I've got the camera view. So you just keep mixing it in until you get the consistency you want. You don't want it too dry because you still want it to bond to the timber. So. You want it to be enough so that it not only fills but holds its shape a bit. Yeah, it's getting pretty good texture now. I'll actually tip this into this other container now. Get it out. That's actually going to come out. Start filling. Oh, what I didn't show you too. Yeah. This is the other side. So we did go back on both sides if you haven't watched the previous video. We used the heat gun. Used a bit of paint stripper, but that was, yeah, I was going to run out of it. It was just using up too much. Wasn't doing that great a job. So I've just gone along with the heat gun. And yeah, you got to be careful with the heat gun that you don't burn the timber. And you know, also because it's got new lacquer on the underside too, I don't want to heat it up enough so it peels the lacquer off the underside. So yeah, sort of very cautiously done. But yeah, so that's all got to be sanded now. Alright, and probably not going to get the height here to show what I'm actually doing. Yeah. So yeah, the main point here is where I pulled the silicone out. Really, to me, silicone is only a temporary measure. It's not permanent, it doesn't bond it together, so if you get, you know, even though it's flexible, you get enough movement in the timber, it's going to separate. I mean, it'll separate anyway because it doesn't really bond to the timber, you know? Not that well, and which means you've got to redo it at some point. And it just creates a problem for the next person, you know? That's, yeah, my way of seeing it anyway. So yeah, don't like using silicone. I mean, it's a whole lot cheaper. I bet. I don't know if I even showed you the resin oil anyway. But a litre of resin was $65 at the Marina. And then the hardener, which I'm not sure what the hardener was. Hardener was cheaper anyway, it was about 20 or 30, but I already had that because I'd run out of hardener last bait I did. So I'd already bought more hardener. I didn't have to pay for that this time, but yeah. So basically, a litre and a bit of resin, you're up close to the $100 mark. So, whereas a tube of silicone, yeah, $20, $25. But as I said, it's just not permanent enough for my liking. It's not permanent enough, it's not strong enough. like, you know, creating a problem for the next person, which sometimes is me. As I said, I won't be on this because this won't really, you know, this should be a long time before this needs any more attention. And yeah, trying to squish this into the gap as much as I possibly can. So we'll have to go along here and sand it all. I'll bring you in a bit closer than I'm down here. Out of view. Put that bit I didn't mark just so I don't forget about it. I've got my arm in the way of the camera now. You know, I could put putty on just on bits like this, but you have two issues with the putty. You put putty on thick like this, you know, it's going to take like a week to set before you can sand it down again. And then, you know, if you bump it, it's just going to come off. It's going to crack away, it doesn't bond that well. I'll just get this. There's a couple of bits that I didn't mark that I missed. You can see where that's spread across the timber. Now that'll stay dark if I don't sand it off. So I will sand that right back to the timber, just so that we, you know, to avoid those dark sort of patches. Anyway, won't bore you with doing the whole thing. What I do want to show you is another piece up the back here. This is a chunk of timber that's missing. Okay, you can see, well, hopefully you can see, I've got a block of wood there. The block of wood's covered in packing tape, plastic, so that the epoxy doesn't stick to the block. And I've just screwed it in with a wood screw. And then I'll plug that little hole later, but yeah, that's so that to keep it in place, to keep the shape. And so that, you know, yeah, if you just use wood putty in this, it'd just take forever. You'd be weeks waiting for that to dry. And then, you know, as soon as it bumps something, it'll fall out again. So, yeah. Wedge that in there. Take a bit too much of that out. By putting plastic over the timber too, so even if this, yeah, even if it sticks to the tape, the timber itself will peel away from the tape, and yeah, you'd be able to see in the tape off if it did that. Anyway, so I won't bore you with the rest of it. We'll There's much more to show. I have rubbed a bit of that keel bar, because you're sanding up next to it, so you're going to scratch it, and you don't want little shiny bits, and then some of it shiny, some of it dark, some of it green, so on and so on. But yeah, before I lacquer it, I'll go over that again with a finer grader of emery and pretty it up a little bit more. Alright, I think there's a whole lot more I can show you, and I'll show you out here actually. As I said, yeah, this is every fortnight in Tassie. You can see right across the front of the house, and as I said, we get a lot of rain in winter, and of course for some reason it always has to rain the day before we cut wood, so we're always cutting wet wood. And, so stand it all up on the front of the house. This is on the northern side of the house, so it gets the sun, keeps it dry from the rain. But in doing that, you got to make sure you don't stack anything with termites or ants in it or anything like that. Getting into your house. That's what these ones are for. These ones are a bit suspect. Could have ants or termites in them, so stack them up there away from the actual house. This is the stuff we threw in on top when I took 2 chains with me, and very early in the piece I hit a chunk of dirt that I couldn't see, and of course the dirt's it's just where we cut, it's the same dirt as this. It's quartz and gravel and stuff like that, so and quartz sand, so at the moment you get the dirt, that's the end of your chain, it's blunt. But that happened early in the piece, so I put my secondary chain on, and by the time I'd cut all of that, it was getting a bit blunt, so so we drift through a bit extra in just to make sure, and cut that up at home, whatever would fit in the trailer. And because there's a few blocks here too that we whack with the axe, they didn't want to split, so I'll long cut them with the chainsaw as well. Anyway, so we better get on with finishing this epoxy before it goes off. So, alright, well, I think we've covered everything for the moment, and as I said, it's going to look blotchy. There's nothing we can do about that. You can't sand through the rivets. Even actually, that's what I didn't mention, some of the rivets too that were sticking out a bit, like that one, it's sort of sticking out. You can feel the edge. You run across, you can feel the edge of it. So I'll grab a punch. I'll do it now actually. I've got it on the tripod. I'll show you. With what by rights should be done. So should have somebody else here on the back with a block to hold it. But there's only me, so, and it's not a steel rivet, it's a copper rivet. It's soft. On the inside you got several layers of lacquer. The copper itself is corroded, the timber is swelled. It's pretty well bonded in there, and because the copper's soft, you can punch it a little bit without it pushing the other side of the rivet out. It'll just scrunch up, crush the actual rivet pin, so you get away with it. As long as you're not trying to punch it too far. That's all it takes. That's nailing. A lot of these, like when you see it, when you feel over it, you can feel they're sort of just slightly higher than the timber, but it's just going to have to stay that way. There's not much you can do it. Well, yep, with a really good gloss, you'd see all that little rises where the rivet are, but they're going to be visible anyway, so I don't think it's really going to matter. What you don't want to be doing is going along punching every rivet, because then you're going to disturb the structure of the boat. You don't want to do that. So, doing one here and one there, it's not going to bother it. And yeah, right, that should cover it. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.